Well, hey everybody, this is Sam with Python Basics, and we're back for our third stream. We already have a couple people in here. Android Gamer, how you doing? There's probably a way for me to be able to tell who's all in here, but I'm still figuring this out. So, all right, let's just continue on with where we are, where we left off last time. So one of the things that I was trying to do, and I guess I was ill-prepared for it, but the modulos that we were looking at. So to really kind of bring this home, it is, let's think about 9 modulo 7. So what is the remainder? So 7 will go into 9 one even time, and the remainder is 2. So then let's think about 70 that you will get if you would get divided by 7. If it's 10, if it's 70, 7 would go in 10 times. But then you go down one number, 69, 7, you have a remainder of 6. So I just wanted to really build upon that and clarify, because for some reason I could not think of any good remainder mathematics yesterday. So all right. And I was getting notes around. I was trying to get enough before we got going, because yesterday we flew through everything, and I thought I had an hour's worth of stuff, but I did not. So we'll kind of see how much I have today, and we'll just go from there. So, all right. Let's see. All right, which one do I? All right. And let's make sure. All right, let me make sure I can see the notes. Okay, so we've been talking about our strings. Now we also need to talk about that you can increment them. And basically what that means is add to them. So we looked at how you can look at a variable information on the right side and then use that and then link it to, even though it has the same variable name, you can add to it. So let's look at that. Here's a perfect example. And we're going to show increment with strings, then add a little bit of integers, and then learn about decrement. So right now, I can't remember if it's, we'll do SAM. All right, now this is where it gets a little weird. All right. So Python does not care that this is already on this side. To remind you, Python will do everything on this side and then add it to link this information. So right now, name is SAMU. Now I'm going to show you the shortcut of this, a way to increment. So it'd be name plus equals, and then we're just going to do EL. Just like that. So this is called incrementing. Now with strings you cannot decrement because it is you'd be changing the string. Right now we're adding to it. I want you to think about that. So if we do this with integers, so x is 0, then if I increment up by 1, I get 1. Increment up by 2. So right now x is 1, and I'm saying plus equals 2. And it helps if you type correctly. So then x is 3. And it works for every math operator. So then if I go increment negatively by 3, x is now 0. So it works. Let's get x is 1, and then x multiply increment by 4, so now x is 4. So you can do that by division. Oh, we need to look at floor division. We need to look at all the math operators. So you have multiplication, division, adding, subtracting. Now if you want to do the power, it's 2 multiplication signs. So 2 raised to the power of 2 is 4. That still looks like multiplication. So let's do 2 raised to the power of 3. So that's 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So there we go. Now, there's going to be times that we're going to not want to have a float because programming is very specific. If it's expecting one type of integer and you get a different, everything is going to kind of throw up. So let's say 1.5, but you're expecting you know you're going to have a remainder, but you only want the whole number, right? So there in Python is something called floor division. So it's 2 divisor signs, and then you get the whole number rounded down. All right? 2 divisor signs, whole number rounded down. All right. Let's see where we are. All right. Okay. Okay, let's look at... We're going to look at lists, and then we're going to look at args here in a minute. So let's... Because right here we were talking about with our definition that we need to have a set... We take in a certain number of arguments, we have rules for it, and we go from there. Well, there's also going to be times where we're not going to know how many arguments we might expect. So think about when you're entering either like stock symbols or weather cities, you just have to separate them by commas, and you go from there. So, so let's look. So we know, so for I in range 10, then let's say we want to make a list. It's going to be an empty list, and I want to check if they are an even number. I want them to be placed in this list. All right, because there's going to be times where you're going to want to have a list just of even numbers. So we know a way to do that, or you may not know the list. You know how to generate a list of even numbers. You may have to check this list, and then there's going to be times where you're going to need to separate things out, and you're going to evenly divide a classroom, maybe evenly divide a roster, and you're going to need to know how to do this. So we're going to do this the long form, and then I'm going to show you how to do this in a shorter version, a very compressed way. So we know how to take a condition. If I modulo 2 equals 0, I want you to then take that number and place it in this list, and we know how to do that. So here's my condition. If I divided by 2 has 0 remainder, even dot append, then we're going to place I in there. And right now, we don't have any other condition. I don't care about the other things right now. Maybe we can do an odd list later, but right now I don't care. So this is how you do it. For let's number. I want to kind of change the idea of that. For number in our range, in our iterable, do so. I need to change that to number. All right. All right. Okay. So now I have my 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So why don't we else get our even? Get an get an odd list. Make an empty list. odd, append, number. Close that out. So we know about our list method append. Places whatever object at the end of our list. So we're going to print odd. There we are. We know about our print function too. So okay, so now we have our even and our odd list. Let's see. Now we're going to do something called list comprehension. Let's go ahead and look at that. So now we don't need that. So now this is where it can be a little overwhelming. All right. So we're going to, for number in range 10. All right. So this was our header, right? And then these were our instructions. Okay, with list comprehension, it's a little structured weird. So until you really kind of grasp this, I want you to think about it like this. We're just going to do here numbers. So right now we're just creating a list of numbers. This is the long, even though you can, so your intermediary variable, your temporary variable, just goes at the front. So do this if you don't want to do anything to it. See, here, let's run this again, and we're going to print numbers. There we are. So run this. So let's say let's give some instructions. Let's say I wanted to multiply all these by 2. Here's my instructions. Here's my for loop through my iterable. And then I run this again, and I get all this. So now I don't want anything done to our temporary variable. It just goes here. But now if this is where your condition happens at the end of it, very similar to this. I know this is a weird structure. Just bear with me. If number, I need to slide this over a little bit. If number modulo 2 equals 0. All right. So there we go. So now with list comprehension, we need to change this just a little bit. All right, so you have to have explicit, because you're only grabbing. So there we go. All right, let's see where we are. Okay. So now we're going to learn about a couple more built-in functions from Python. We're going to look at max, min, and sum. Shockingly, these are going to be really out there. You probably may not be able to decipher what they are. So even, oops. Oh, I changed that. Even to numbers, even. That's why you have to be aware of what your variables are. Perfect example. All right. Even, again, there's an example of not spelling correctly. Because I do have to say, when I started learning Python, it made me a much better speller. And it helped me make sure I was reading everything correctly and typing what I actually meant. So, all right. So let's say you have this big long list, and you want to find the largest number and the smallest number in there. Well, max, even, and max, odd. Shockingly, they're 8 and 9. And then look at sum. Guess what sum does? Even and sum of odd 25. Well, that's interesting. The odd has much larger sum. I never really noticed that before. All right. So now one of the awesome and handy things about Python is multiple assignment and then reassignment. And as of right now, there are no other languages that can handle reassignment. You have to have a temporary variable. So there's going to be times where you're going to have variables that you're not going to want to have to do this, and this is completely legal in Python. So this is all, and then when you get very sophisticated, and we'll get to this. I don't know. It'll be contingent on how well we're doing. Oh, we have a couple more people here. All right, thanks for joining us, guys. If we keep doing live, or if we go back to our regular format, because I know we need to finish up on some couple of the stock videos to wrap up, because I introduced a new module, but we'll just keep going. So, all right, but this right here, packing and unpacking. So let's say if you had a list of things. Actually, let's make this more real world. A, B, C. And I had a list, 1, 2, 3. All right, so A, B, C. But we realize that maybe the person who gave us the list, and they say, oh, hey, or we realize that there's a fundamental order and we don't want to have to change all our code, and we realize that B and C need to be swapped. So it's literally B, C equals C to B. All right, so you ready for this? All right, so before B was 2, now B is 3, and C is 2. All right, did you follow that? I remember the first time. Oh, you guys are welcome. All right. And thank you. All right. So, oops. Okay. Still getting alerts. Maybe I should mute that. Sorry, guys. All right. So this is another one of the hundreds of things that, if you guys have any questions of anything I'm going over, just drop them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. Okay, because I know there's somebody had a question last night and things got away. We've been working on some of the Kiwi. She's been working on some of the Kiwi videos, and I did not have a chance to look at the code. So I will do that after this. This last night got away from me. Okay, so this is one of the awesome things that just Python is phenomenal about, and can just flip this around for you. All right. So we've done, okay, the args. So now we need to look at how to handle multiple variables. So let's say, just like our sum, and there's going to be times where you're going to need to have things, and so we're going to take, so def nums dot, now you're going to see this args. It doesn't have to always be args. I remember when I first learned, I thought you had to put args here. It does not matter. Anything with an asterisk, that turns this into an args. And what that means is, just like up here with our mul, so actually for multiplication, let's do this. Let's show you. You'll get an error. So if I pass in, let's put this in memory, and I come over here and I use mul, and it's expecting, let me make sure I haven't changed this. So it's expecting 2 variables, 2 arguments, and I pass it 3. I'm going to pass it 3, 4, and 2. Well, what's going to happen? You're going to get an error. This is another one of the awesome things. Python will tell you exactly what the error is, and you have to go and look for it, find it, read it, discover it, and then solve it. So 2 positional arguments. It was expecting. You'll see expecting or takes or something like that. So mul takes 2 positional arguments because we wrote it right here. We even put it in the doc string. Takes 2 right there, but I wasn't paying attention and I passed 3, but 3 were given. So Python goes, hey, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to solve it. Boom, I'm broken. So let's just say you're taking a list of, you're going to let somebody pass in, or you're going to take input. Actually, that's one thing that I just realized. I haven't done the input function yet, so we're going to do that next. All right, so let's say nums. Then you're going to pass in numbers, close that out, for I in numbers, print, sorry guys, this is old habit, for number in numbers, print number. All right, let's see if I got all this right. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, bring this in. So what I call it, nums. So 2, 3, 5, or 6, 1, 8. Close this out. Boom. So okay, what just happened? What just happened? Well, these are the rules of Python. Python has a built-in way to handle an unknown, an unlimited, however many, does not matter. Because when we get to command line stuff, if you've not watched those videos that we'll possibly continue. If these keep getting as successful as they are, we'll just keep doing these live streams. Because if you guys like them, like I've said before, if you're new here, this is your channel. This is to save you pain and anguish and anything that I've learned that can save you. So what this does is this puts this in a container for us. And especially when you're doing command line stuff, argv, arg variables. So it breaks it down and puts it into a list. So then here's my container, just like this. So I drop my asterisk right here. I put this into my iterable. Here's my temporary variable. And if I wanted to total this, how about we say, here's a perfect example of what to do. So total increment number, and then let's back this out. Now we're going to look at this here in a few minutes. The position of in the loop. So now I can print this where if I put total, it's only going to print out total one time at the end of this loop at the end. Now if I put this back here, it will print out total, or like our subtotal, every single time. And then let's just look at it. And first number, subtotal. Second number, subtotal. Third number, subtotal, so on and so forth. But now if I move this over here, it's going to print out every single number and then only print out the total one time. And we're actually going to look at one of the first loop exercises that I ever did that I just absolutely love still to this day. It's a number triangle. So let's look at it. And it's all about flow control. So here we are. 2, 4, 6, 1, 8, 21. So it printed out each of these numbers and only printed out the total one time. Each of the numbers, total, one time. So there we are. All right, cool. Yes, swapping. like swapping. No, the variables, that's one of the cool things about, yes, the variables hold memory, but once they're reassigned, the Python, that was what Gordo, the creator of Python, actually wanted to do. He wanted to have a language that beginners could start and not have to worry about memory use. It would be, it has a garbage collector. So once you move on, and so that other information was overwritten. All right, so good question. But yes, a variable holds memory. Now when we get to generators don't. All right, that's a good question. All right. And then also there's ways to find out how much memory your variable is using, and that is a library that Python has, a built-in library called sys, and have a whole series on that. And we can, if we keep doing this, maybe we'll get to it. So let's see where we are. Did the multiple? Okay. So let's look at some number triangles. So and again, I really love this. So, and we're going to call these for what it is. For number in range, let's see where this shows up. Maybe it'll show up over here. All right, so this is what we're going to build, and we'll go through the script in a minute. Did that show up so you guys could see it? All right, so we're gonna work on this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 10 rows, and the columns build. So this is what we're going to have to do. We have to come up with a plan, and this is perfect for for loops. So we want to do something 10 times. Then inside that, we're going to do something a certain number of times that appears to be greater. So on the first one we have 1, on the second one we have 2, on the third one we have 3. Because the reason why I like this so much is it is patterns, it's algorithms. Even though this is a number triangle, you have to notice, do this and do this. What type of setup, what type of rules, and it's a great place to start with understanding algorithms of how to go. And it's actually a lot easier than you think, and you're not going to have to do a lot of planning. So 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. It doesn't seem that way, but on the first time through, it has 1 number. On the second time through, 2 numbers. And then on the 10th time through, it has 10 numbers. So let's just go ahead and get started on it. So here is the building block for it. Oops. All right, let's get this over here. So we know it needs to be 10 times, right? We're going to print out number 10 times. It's 10 rows down, right? Okay, but that's not quite right. We got 0 through 9. Still 10, but it's not right. So let's go 11. Let's see how this is. Okay, so we have our 10 rows, and we have them numbered correctly. But this is supposed to be 1 in every single one here. So we need to change this a little bit. And why don't we actually call this what it is? So we got our rows, because we're going to have, so I want you to think about this. We're going to have to go down row and then into our columns. So we're going to have a nested list, or excuse me, a nested loop. So each time through here, so what did I say? The first one, it is 1. Then the second one is 1, 2. And the third one is 1, 2, 3. So basically, I'm going to come down, and then I'm going to do my column. All right, for range in So is it range row? So each time through, then I want to print my column. All right, let's see how close I am. Oops, and I forgot our in. Now let's check this and what I spell wrong. For row in, oh, I changed this. For row in, and actually, we probably need that to be blank. Let's look at it and see how well I did. All right, how close am I? So I got my 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's not right. Okay, so I need to start. So what do we know about our rules? It starts at 0 and then goes up. It's inclusive and exclusive. So we saw this here. So if I change this to 1, oops, sorry guys, so that's a lot of background noise. Alright, we're getting a little closer here. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. But now the only problem is that these are all on different rows, and I need them all together. So Iris showed you this last time. You can do this a couple of ways, but we're going to use the in suppression to get this to go and stay on the same line. That's why we need this space right here. So we're getting a little closer. All right, but this isn't quite right. So this is blank, and this is supposed to have 10. Oh, wait a second. So we moved the column over by 1. We moved our starting point over by 1, but we did not move our end point over by 1. So let's do that. Aha. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now that's a little jumbled, and that's the one I showed you, but how would you make it a little clear? So I don't want, when I use this is an empty string. So len empty string is 0. So there is no difference other than me wanting to go ahead and put a space in there. So if I were to do that, boom, I have these nice spaces right here. All right. So now let's look and see where we are. Oh, I said we were going to look at the input. So Python has a very handy function already built in for us that, all right, so let's kind of recap a little bit. So a computer does a couple things. Well, all a computer really does is just process information inside the processor, open and close it. But it is an input-output device. So right now, I'm on one that's taking a tremendous amount of input. Audio, keyboard, mouse, webcam, and right now it's only outputting to our screen. All right. And then also, YouTube is taking input from my screen. So that's how I want you to think about it. So has to be a way for Python to take information from you, from the user, from the programmer, and then end point is from the user. So name, input, please enter your name. And whatever you type here, so I want you to see, that has no space. Please enter your name. And then print hi. I know this isn't good. We're going to do print format in a minute. Name. Nice to meet you. All right. So there we go. Close that out. And let's see. Ah. There we go. All right. Sam. Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you. So if I would have left this like this, it'd be all crowded and have this prompt right there. Ugh, I don't like it. Now, what? Let's change this to number input, enter number to multiply by 2. Print number times 2. Now, for those of you who've been around Python a while, you know this is going to fail. 2. Actually, okay, it did. That's what it did. So, all right, why did 22 come out? That's I didn't really think about this. So we need to look at this. So the prompt is none, but it is built into none, but we can change it. Now, read a string from standard input. Trailing new line is stripped. Prompt string is given. So read a string. All right, guess I haven't read this in a while. Read a string from standard input. So the reason why, because we know 2 times 2 is 4. But if I pass this a string 2, and I'm telling Python I want 2 2's, I get a string of 22. Same thing as this. If I wanted to multiply this by 2, I'd get Sam. All right. So if I wanted to have this be actually multiplied, I need to wrap, just like we took our list function and we wrapped it around our range function to build a list of those range numbers. I can wrap integer around things to transform that into an integer. So now when I pass 2, I get 4. And I just realized we have not talked about the type function. What was the name of this variable? Number. Int. Then y is 3.0. Name is Sam. So I got an int, a float, and a string. So type y float, and type name string. Now you might be saying, why in the world, what is the point of this? You just created those, you know what they are. Well, there's going to be a time where you're creating something and you're expecting it to be one type of variable, and you're trying to, let's say you think you have this variable that you're bringing over, and you think it's a list, or you're expecting it to be a list, and it's a string, and you're calling a different method, or you're trying to append to it, and it's not quite working the way that you're throwing an error. You wrap that variable for a second around type, or you print it out in the middle of the steps in the sequence in the program, and then lo and behold, you see that it is not the variable you're expecting, so you need to convert it, change it over, and go from there. But that is just another Just another example of the powerful tools that the core developers have thought of for you. So, all right, let's keep moving. I've got a little bit more. Let's see. All right. Let's see, what else did I want to... All right, so let's think about prime numbers for a second. Or we already just did one for even, right? That's not what I wanted to do. So, all right. Let's see. All right, so what was a couple? Tuple zip. Oh, a dictionary. We need to talk about another type of container, the dictionary. So a dictionary is very powerful because there are going to be times, because I remember when I was learning, and so there's going to be times where you're not going to know how many variables you're going to have, and we just kind of saw that with our args. But let's say you need to convert that over and track them. Well, you're not going to know how many variables to create, and that's where like the dictionary comes in. That's very handy. All right. So in Python, it's called a dictionary, and it works, and it has a key and value pair. And what that means is it loads up and it has the dictionary with the key, and that's associated to a certain value. And the values can be anything. And literally the keys can be anything as well. So let's create a dictionary, and those are curly brackets. So we've had a list, which is the square brackets, and our dictionaries are curly brackets. Type D is a dictionary. And the way that you use this is just like so, and you can put anything as your value. It can be another dictionary, it can be a list, it can be a string, it can be a mix of anything. That's why this tool is so very, very powerful. So if we were to look and have, let's see, D1 Sam. So literally, I don't need to remember. So I got my position, that was 1. So if I were to change this, and every time through this program or loop or whatever I had, and when I got done adding somebody, I could literally just increment number up by 1. So now the next time I input somebody else, num, and their name, let's just do Steve. So now when I call my dictionary, the key, the first person was Sam, then the second person was Steve, and so on and so forth. So then when I got down to the bottom of it, I incremented up another one by 1. So, because again, Python does not care. As long as it has information for the object, if it has information stored in memory and Python can process it, you can use it. So if I wanted to add another, so num is now 3. So if I go num and I then Joe, you get the idea. And then this is how I call it, just like assigning. Then it'd be 2. I wanted to know who the second person on the roster, however they were, or the number or jersey number. that's a perfect example. Or the person that got, if you want to keep up with every person who's ever been hired at a company and they just have an associate number that keeps going down, and you'd want to go and be able to track that record, 55,000. And the thing about this is the key value. So let's loop through this for I in the print I. So we need to look at this. This is only going to print out the keys. All right. Now, just like we've seen before, we need to look at dir on. All right. So we have our key, or clear, copy, from keys, get, items, keys. So this is where this starts to get very powerful. So these are my methods, so I need to use my parentheses because we learned over the days. So here are my keys, 1, 2, 3. Now, items. Here's the beginnings of unpacking. For key v in d dot items. Actually, let's do this. D dot items. Aha! Now, we're going to go ahead and touch on this. Here's another container called a tuple. They're very powerful. They live in parentheses. That's all we're going to talk about right now. So now here's my key and value. Key, value, key, value. Now we're going to look at unpacking. For key, value, in d dot items. How did I get that to come out? I got this to come out by d dot items. So this is my iterable. Here are my items. Here's my iterable. Now, so now I have my first tuple, second tuple, third tuple, 4, and let's see if they come out. You may be surprised. So key and value, print key and value. All right. So 1, 2, and I could have put anything in here. So, but all right, we're right at 50 minutes, and whoa, no problem, guys. I'm glad to hear that. So, well, hey, if you guys are, if these keep building like we have been, we'll keep doing a few of these and maybe even continue on with the other recorded videos. But I really get a kick out of doing this because I'm really trying to I know. After we get done with this, I am going to work on that key V. Time got away from me last night, and I wasn't feeling too hot, but I will work on that today, and I'll get back with you, and I'll see if I can spot that that issue with Kiwi. I will, I promise. And then if I can't, I'll let you know. But I've usually been able to find the bugs and see how it is. But you are right; that is a very, very large project. I've glanced at it. You've done a lot of work on that, so you should be very pleased with yourself. I'm very proud of yourself. But we're going to keep going. So you guys are liking these live streams, so just make sure you're hitting that like button so I can kind of see. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe and check out some of well, you're very welcome. But yeah, I just love showing Python and teaching Python, and especially coming up with the fall. So many more people continue learning Python, and like I said, I'm working on the book, and I'm really trying to get that done by fall. And it's sitting out, chapter 1 sitting out behind Patreon, if anybody's interested in that. But I just want to tell you guys thank you. I am extremely humbled that you guys are spending time watching these videos, and I'll keep working on getting notes around and keep compressing all the videos down and seeing how these live streams goes. But please make sure you're sharing these videos, hitting that like button and that subscribe button and the notification bell. and I'll just see. I'm not going to be able to do a live stream tomorrow, but I will see you guys next week, and we'll go from there. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.